3.85 by 3.35, so you could do them for sort of 4.75 by 3.25, something like that is roughly right. And then I had some in my library. I had a 4 playing card suits over here, so I put those in and I deleted the ones I didn't want and duplicated the ones I did want, which was I wanted obviously 6 of clubs, 6 of diamonds and ace of clubs. So I've put in my 2 sixes as well, and that was just a text, just a normal font, and then an A for the ace. So I'm going to be cutting those out separately. So that's obviously going to be the red side and that's the black side. So we're literally just going to be cutting those out, and then sort of most of the designing part will be on the card itself. Okay, so let's get over to the machine and get cutting this out. So we're at the machine. I've loaded the mat up according to the positioning on the mat, on the virtual mat. So I'm just loading the mat in the machine. So just line it up with the little line. There's a little groove there. There's these bigger lines, but then there's a tiny groove, so you just line the edge up there. Now I need to change the blade setting, and I'm going to change the blade on my machine for the thicker card. You just pop it in that little hole, twist it till you get to the 4, pop the blade back in the housing and turn that like so. Now that's just, this mat's really old now. Okay, and then we're going to press cut on the computer, and it's going to think about it, hopefully. Now my mat's quite old, so I put a bit of spray adhesive on the back of these, so I'm hoping it's going to stay put. Okay, so that's that finished, so we're just going to press the enter key to unload. And as you can see, we've got the cards done, and then, I don't know if you can catch it in the light, but we've got the little diamonds done, and our club and little ace. Just going to position everything, and I'm going to have to just use my craft knife, I think, to help me move things around. And here. So now I'm just going to get some more adhesive and some tweezers and just stick those down. I'm going to start with the little 6s, I think. And I'm just going to use my zig, because I think that's just going to work fine. Like that. Okay, so that's those 2 all stuck down. So now we need to start putting the card itself together. Okay, so we're now on my gypsy for the next part of this card, and what I want to do is create a background. And I was looking at the backgrounds on Elegant Edges because I had something in my head that I thought was there, and it was. So and what I wanted to do is create like a red and black background for the white cards to go onto, so that they popped out from the background. Now hopefully that will look right, but we'll see. So if I've zoomed quite close into my actual virtual mat on my gypsy, so I'm just now going across to my cartridges, and as you can see I'm already on Elegant Edges, and this is the main page of Elegant Edges, so there's no there's no feature keys on. And as you can see just here, if I just press the top silver button and then press on this one, you're able to see that I thought that would be a perfect background for my card. So I thought if I did either a red card with this cut out in black over the top, or vice versa, and I'm thinking as it's a birthday card it would be quite nice to do a black card and this cut out in red, because as you can see this would be more red than black showing, so I think that would be more fun for the card. But I may cut both and see what looks best. Okay, so I'm gonna pop that on my mat. Now as you can see, that's come out nice and tiny. Now a A5 card, which is what I'm going to be doing, is approximately 6 inches by 8.5. It's not precise, that isn't precise, it's just a rough Actually, I don't want it, I'm doing it portrait, so it's actually 6 inches wide by 8.5 inches tall, so actually I need this to be the 6 inches. That's better. And then I'm going to, because if I stretch this it would look really weird, so I'm going to copy it and I'm going to add it on the top here. And I think we're going to need to zoom in a little bit, but I'm going to then weld the two together. So we're just going to zoom in, and I'm going to just move my page over a little bit so I could see the whole of that image that I'm working on. And then I'm going to just nudge using these keys, these arrow keys here. I'm just going to nudge the image so that it's as touching as little as possible. Now if you zoom in, the closer you zoom in, the smaller each nudge becomes. So when you hit your arrow key, it does just a really tiny little nudge if you're really zoomed in. So I think that's looking quite good. I think we will probably find that that will weld okay. So let's just take that back out. Then I'm going to go back to my basic page over here, and I'm going to click on my group button, and I got that one was already clicked on, so I'm going to click on the top button. Then I'm going to press the ungroup, as it were, because it's already grouped, so we don't need to add anything to that. And then going across to my advanced button here, and I'm going to hit my weld key, which is this one here, and then we're going to press the little I just to check, and then I'm going to zoom in just to see that it has welded that together. I think we're going to need to zoom even further, and it has done it, and it is very minute, and I think we could probably take that a bit closer, because when we look here, the little diamond shapes in the middle are much bigger. So I think we're going to take the eye off and the weld, and I'm going to go back here, click ungroup, and then I'm going to just nudge this up a little bit more till it looks a little bit more similar to the others. So I'm thinking that looks a bit better. That looks more how it is. So let's now group again, and then go across to our advanced button, weld, little eye. And the reason for the eye is just to check that you can see it's welded, because if we zoom right in here, you can see there's the grey. That's where it won't cut. The red is the bit that it will cut. So you can see it's welded together nicely, and we've got a nice shape. Now clearly that's going to be a lot bigger than we need it to be, because it's 11 inches high and I only need 8.5. But you know, I'm hoping that, you know, I'll be able to cut off sort of enough that it will be even. Now we're going to go across to my Imagine, because I'm going to be using my Imagine to cut instead of, but you could obviously do this on your Expression or your E2, but I'm going to use my Imagine today. Okay, so we're going to go over there and we're going to cut this out in red. Okay, so we're at my Imagine, so we're going to just get this to cut now. So we're going to press the cut button, and then we want to get the mat in position to load. Load mat. Press go on the Gypsy. Because it's going through the Cricut Expression part of the Gypsy, it does it through the Gypsy rather than on the screen here. It says go. So. And I've got it set at my maximum blade setting of 6. The pressure seems to be automatically set on the Gypsy for the Expression section. There doesn't seem to be an option. So off it goes to cut, hopefully. Okay, so I've folded a piece of A4 card black in half, ready for my base. Now what I realised was that I forgot the golden rule that I keep telling you guys, is that when you're positioning your paper on the mat for the Imagine, you have to remember to look at where the arrow is, and I put the mat the wrong way round. So as you can see, instead of cutting it all the way along there, it's cut it only there. But actually I think that may have worked in my favour, because I think I may have saved half a piece of paper or card, and I think, as you can see, it still fits on there looking fabulous. So it's a perfect fit and it worked just great. So I'm really pleased about that. That was one of those happy accidents. So then, but as I say, just be careful of that in the future. And then I'm going to position my cards sort of on that like so somehow. So I'm just thinking whether I want the diamonds at the bottom like so, or at the top. I think if I pop it at the top there and then just snip a little bit off the bottom. Okay, so I'm just going to get some adhesive and I'm going to use my zig. So I'm just going to scrawl on the back of that. Actually, that's going to take forever. By the time I do it, it's going to dry. So I'm just using some of my PVA glue. Okay, so let's pop, I know I said it at the top, but I'm going to pop it down at the bottom here so it's completely lined up. And then I can, if necessary, which I don't think it is actually, just move that straight, no, maybe just a smidge. And I'm going to take my cards and I'm going to position those. I want to try and do it oh yeah, like something like that, I was going to say. I think that looks quite good actually. Like so. So I'm going to get some gel glue, because you know that's one of my favourites. Okay, so I'm just going to move this one off to one side so I don't kind of forget where I'm going with it. And I'm just going to put some blobs of my gel glue on the back here. Like so. And then pop that one, that was like that, and then that one was more straight, that's it, and then that one went like that. There we go. Okay, and then my second one, and we want not quite so much in that top corner because that's already raised, and then we're gonna plenty on the rest of it. And there we go. Okay, so that's the outside of the card done. I'm pleased with that. So now all I need to do is I want to do something on the inside for two reasons. One, I think it looks nicer, and two, at the moment it's a black card on the inside, so it's more difficult for somebody to write. Obviously I want to put the happy birthday in there as well, but first of all I'm just going to let that set and dry off completely because I don't want those moving. Alright, so I'll come back to you in a bit when that's all set. On the inside I've added diamonds that were left behind on the mat from this, and I just put them in there as a sort of pattern. And then I added a double mat, so I did a red mat, a white mat, so there's places to write. Then I printed this out on my computer and I added it onto a black mat, which I think just gives it a nice kind of red and black again on there, so it sort of finishes that off. And hope your day is ace, obviously, and happy birthday. So that's our card done. I hope you've enjoyed it, and again a collaboration between our Cricut and Silhouette. So hope you've enjoyed it, and see you all again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.